Welcome to Handforged, the podcast where real tradespeople share their real stories. Here at Handforged, we're dedicated to bringing attention to the trades, fostering a community of blue-collar professionals, and offering support through shared experiences and insights. Each episode will dive deep into journeys, challenges, and successes of our guests. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the trades, you'll find valuable tips, inspiring stories, and practical advice to help you navigate and thrive in your career. So grab your tools and get ready to be inspired. This is Handforged. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Handforged podcast. We have decided to not call them numbers anymore at the advice of Tor Larson, who we're here with today. So he's the first one of us not calling it by a number. So this is just another Handforged podcast. We're here today with Tor Larson of Signs East. Tor does a lot of like signs and trailer wraps and boat wraps and a whole bunch of stuff. He'll kind of get into kind of what he's been doing. I met Tor through social media a few years Facebook. Back. Yeah, I had just gotten a new trailer. We was actually just talking about that story. Got a new trailer and I needed a vinyl wrap. I kind of went to Facebook to see who was out there. And a couple people had recommended you and somebody else. And that other person didn't get back to me. So fuck him. And you did. We brought it down to you, wrapped it up. And I still absolutely love dragging that trailer around, man. Like sometimes I just hook it up and drive around with it, whatever.
Yeah, huge American flag.
Big American flag. Yeah, I love that shit. I was out on 4th of July, and I was like, I'm taking the trailer out. So I took the trailer. I was driving around with the trailer.
At Seacoast Cabinet, Raleigh, Mass., we offer a full range of services, from design to installation, tailored to residential and commercial applications. We carry 3 lines of American-made cabinetry to fit any budget, ensuring that you get the best quality and value. For more information or a free quote and design, head to seacoastcabinetne.com.
So yeah, man. So why don't you just tell everybody kind of who you are and what you do, and maybe some current projects you have going on. That's definitely my phone.
I thought we were supposed to turn those off.
Yeah, man. My bad.
I'm Tor. Like you said, I own a sign shop. I had a couple other businesses before, but everything got too sporadic and labor sucked. So
yeah,
I kind of burned all the ships and went all in back to the sign shop, and it's good. We do everything handmade in America and all like World War II type sheet metal bending, fabricating stuff and electric signs. And
yeah,
we go out on the road, so all over New England. I just shipped some signs to Brooklyn.
Oh, sweet.
I shipped signs to Key West, Florida, California for YouTube. So,
dude, that's sick.
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff all over the place. So it's good.
We'll have to do a hand-forged sign and throw it up on the wall over there.
Every podcast needs a neon sign. Just look at Joe Rogan.
That's true. Do you watch Ninjas Are Butterflies?
No.
Have you heard of that podcast? It's
No.
fucking hilarious. But they have some dope signs.
Yeah.
So, I follow you on social media, man. I see a lot of the stuff that you're doing. It seems like I see you in there fucking tack welding and kind of putting metal frames together and fucking, you got big lifts and shit, these big signs. What's one of like the biggest jobs you ever did?
We did the Boston Wax Museum. We used to do Fenway Park. So
you did stuff at Fenway?
Yeah, some of the billboards and stuff like that.
Oh, shit.
I just last year finished a big job. If you're in the area of Peabody, Bonkers was like a kid zone. So it was 60 feet tall by 24 feet wide, giant, huge double-sided LED boards, and then a huge digital reader board underneath. So that was a big one.
That's cool. So are you still doing vinyl wraps and stuff too?
Yeah. I try to not do it as much because one of my buddies has a shop down the street, obviously. But I do the truck lettering and stuff and, commercial side. I don't do any like nice Lamborghinis or anything like that because it's not my style.
Right. Yeah, I know that. I've been looking at like one of the Sprinter vans.
Yeah.
I got to do something because we like signed the lease on the logistics location in Kingston. Yeah. And I have a delivery crew that'll come and like pick up cabinets and deliver them out to houses and stuff. But sometimes it's like I got a fucking vanity and or 3 or 4 cabinets and I got to pay them like $600-700 to come and pick it up and go deliver it. So I figured pick up like a transit van and then, that way I can just, if it's small cabinets, I can either pay somebody on the crew to do it or just go out and do it myself.
Right.
I got a U-Haul full of cabinets right now, actually, that I'm going to deliver after this, which is crazy. But yeah, so I was thinking about getting one of those transits and probably doing the same thing as far as the wrap goes with the American flag and throwing the sign up. Yeah. There's a possibility we might be rebranding though, so I got to kind of hold off until that gets sorted.
Yeah.
Partnerships. You ever been in a partnership business wise?
Yeah.
It work out for you?
Yeah, it was actually really good.
Was it?
I got lucky, and it's kind of how we started, because before my sign shop, I was a chef. I went to culinary school. I've been working in kitchens, catering since I was like 13 years old, 80 hours a week, busting my ass.
I didn't know that.
And so I worked all over. I worked at Vinwood's Catering, and then I worked at Tim Hopkins Catering, which was more higher end of it. Vinwood's was more middle range, but they would do like 13 weddings on a Saturday.
Jesus.
All like 300 people. We had box trucks all over with ovens in the box trucks. So you're cooking in a box truck with 2 ovens running at like 400 degrees.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so it was I don't know if that's OSHA rated. But,
in theory, that's what they were doing.
yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
So I grew up doing that, and then did construction and roofing and siding and all that too. But I was at dirt biking out in G&G Pit in Salisbury, and I met Doug from Signs by Doug. And then we started hanging out, and I would help him and stuff. And he was like, you friggin' work 80 hours a week for someone else, and then you come in and, he goes, you help me for free. And we're sitting at Wally's one day on a Sunday fun day, drunk as a skunk, 7, 8 vodka Red Bulls deep. We're paying our tab. And he's like, why don't you come work for me? And I'm like, well, I always wanted to own my own business, but mostly I was focused restaurant. And he was like, I got all the equipment to get us going. He goes, you put it in your name. I'll teach you everything we need to know. And then eventually you can buy me out and, do your own thing. So we paid the tab, and we went on GoDaddy right at the bar, and we started searching. And he's like, where are you from? I'm like, Topsfield. So he's like, that doesn't really sound good. He goes, I'm like, where are you from? He's like, Peabody. So I go, okay, well, we typed in peabodysigns.com, because he goes, you want to start a business with the town you're in, because people are going to search on Google signs in Peabody, signs near Peabody. So we did that, and it popped up. It was like $20 for a year or two. And I looked at my bank account at the time. I was a degenerate little fuck. And I had like $25 in my account on that Sunday after getting paid on Friday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. And then we bought the domain name, and then we went out and printed some paper flyers and started knocking door to door. And thank God some people were like, trusted me enough
Right.
to letter their shit.
Uh-huh.
And we just started with 50% down on every job, and people would give us, even if it was a truck lettering, which was weird. People gave me friggin' money now looking at my business now.
Yeah.
But like, people would give me, even if it was $100 job, I'd need $50
Yeah.
to go get the materials and friggin' do all the shit. And we just knocked on doors and ground it out.
No shit. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and
So
Doug
you-
taught me almost everything I know.
No shit.
Yeah.
Because his shop is right up the street from my showroom.
Yeah.
I see his stuff out there all the time. Is he still doing signs?
Yeah, he still does signs.
Oh,
We
so-
work together too.
Yeah. So is he's the one doing the raps?
No,
Or is that another buddy?
that's Ronnie down the street.
Hate him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he does awesome work.
Yeah, he does. He's the one that didn't get back
So
to
much
me though.
talent.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
But
He's
yeah,
busy.
yeah, I know. Whatever. So am I.
But yeah, no, Doug was awesome, great partner, and he taught me a lot. No offense, he also taught me some things not to do, but you know that, But
Yeah.
it was a big learning thing for like the first. It's weird to say, like, I've only actually been in business for, in my mind, 3 years.
Right.
Because like the first 10, I made every fucking mistake you could imagine.
Yeah, for
Between the IRS and the fucking breaking shit and
Yeah.
building stuff and then having to rebuild it before it goes out the door,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's funny how you learn from your mistakes, and so I feel like sometimes the only way that you can get good at what you do is by fucking it up.
Yeah.
Like, you could read as much as you want and watch as many videos on YouTube as you want, but until you really fuck some stuff up, you don't really learn too much.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't. I'm too thick-headed, I guess.
but I'll never forget our first big fuck up was it wasn't that big because we kind of fixed it, but it was funny and it'll always be in my head. So our first shop was like 600 square feet with a loading dock, like an 8x8. And we sold this job and we're like, fuck yeah, like huge fucking electric sign, you know, we're all up on the world. So we start building it, right? We couldn't get it out the door. So we built this huge fucking sign and we're sitting there and we're like laughing at each other, but we're also like pissed because I had to go up that day. We needed the money to like eat.
Right.
And we're like, what the fuck are we going to do? And we had to fucking cut the whole thing in half because it was that big.
Jesus.
But our minds, we were so tunnel vision because we're like just coming out of the recession of 2013 is when I started. Like 2012 was the original year we bought the domain. So like it was tough,
Right.
you know, like just to survive back then. So like we had to chop it in half and then like weld it back together in the fucking driveway. And yeah, it was a nightmare.
Dude, that happened to us. We had, I was doing this job for an interior designer, and she had a client who lived down, I think it was like Marlborough or Southborough, one of the boroughs down in Mass. And huge money. Like, you know, we found the guy in like Forbes magazine. I never actually met the client, but because we were working for the interior designer, but you know, it was in Forbes magazine, like very wealthy guy, had this beautiful house down there. And we built we built a bunch of furniture, but one of the biggest pieces that we built was it was a 10-foot in diameter kitchen table. And it was, you know, so perfectly round, 10 feet diameter, 2 inches thick of solid white oak. Absolutely gorgeous. And it was going in the breakfast nook of the house. So, I mean, like this table probably wouldn't fit in my kitchen. It was going in there. Nook, like place was ridiculous. Made a bunch of magazines and stuff. And so, you know, in order to make that table, right, you take all your boards. I used to design it out in SketchUp, and I know how long all my boards have to be from middle to end, trying to get the minimal amount of waste as possible. So you get them all glued up. So I get all the boards cut. I get them all biscuited. I get them all joined up. I got it sitting in clamps, and you know, once it dries, I figure I'll cut out the radius of it. And so I get the whole thing built, and I didn't realize like how big the fucking thing was. And like, it was like this little stripper stage almost. Like I was literally on top of it with like a belt sander, like belt sand the thing. And it was enormous. So after I get the thing glued up, I came to the same conclusion. I'm like, fuck, dude, like I don't even think I'm going to be able to get this thing out of here. So I was like, whatever, like I'll figure it out. So I get the thing cut in half. Cutting the radius out, and I'm like kind of doing all the finished stuff to get it sprayed and stained. And somebody comes in, my brother, and he's like, dude, how are you going to get that out of here? I'm like, oh, fuck, I thought about that too, and I forgot. So we literally had to take 2 doors apart, fucking cut framing out of the fucking shop. Like, because I had this like old church door that I had taken off this like old church that we demoed. And it was wide, but it wasn't tall enough. So I had to like take the door off, cut all the framing out that we put up so we could roll it out. And then I get to the outside of the building, and it's like a metal fab building with like a metal fucking door. Yeah. Dude, we couldn't get it out. So like we ended up having to go down the hallway into somebody else's unit, cut a fucking header out of one of the pass-throughs to go through their garage door. And then I lost sleep for like 2 weeks because I was so worried I wasn't going to be able to get it in the house. Yeah. And I was like, just stuff you don't think about, right? So I was like texting with the interior designer, and she's like, no, it's fine. Like, don't even worry about it. You'll be able to get it in. And I'm like, so worried. But of course we get there, and the doors, it's like a 15-foot fucking front entry door. Yeah. And we literally just laid blankets from the end of the box truck to where it was going. And 2 of us just fucking rolled it like through the house. It went right through everything. But the only thing that sucked was trying to get it out of the shop. It's a pain in the ass. But again, you know, you fucking do what you got to do. Like if I had to cut a hole in the fucking wall, like I was going to cut a hole in the wall. I was not taking that thing apart again, you know, and it weighed 430 pounds.
It would never look the same.
Right. Yeah. And trying to join that back up, and like, it would have been a complete pain in the ass, but got an experience like that too. So with him, it's Doug, right? Yeah. So with that transition, and I'm just kind of curious for my own sake because I'm going through a partnership dissolution right now. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but so you guys kind of built up the business together, and then you ended up buying him out, and then he kept his business, and you just kind of had your own. Yeah, he always had his own business. Yeah, because one, he had been doing it his whole life, and two, like I build my own shit. Like I don't want handouts. I never got handouts. Like
as much as everyone thinks is I got all this fucking money from my parents. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like we were dodging credit card calls all day long growing
Yeah.
up. Like we got nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I love my mom, I love my dad, but you know, I had to build what I have. You know, they gave me work ethic and like ingenuity and like cognitive thinking, but like it's all, I like to do stuff myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we built it. He had his thing on the side, and we were always good about that, you know. And once in a while, he'd be like, "Hey, this guy called, but we can't handle it, so like I'm going to give it to the business." You know what I mean? Or if somebody called, we still do it to this day. I'm like, "Hey, so and so called. I know they're your customer, so like I told them to just call you back because I don't want to deal with it."
Right.
But it just got to the point where like I was starting. I finally found that guy Grant Cardone, and I started reading his books. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Because I was still out doing stupid shit and drinking and fucking down at Wally's. No offense, but like, you know,
Wally's.
I was there partying and whatever. And I lived with some other people, and they were loved to drink and stuff at the time. So I started getting into business and reading books. And I wanted to take the business like way beyond. And Doug was trying to like calm down.
Yeah.
So we were kind of in that point, and like he had already been at the point where like I was working, and he's like, "Look, you take more this week because I only worked 3 days, and it's not fair." Like he was always, Doug's the nicest dude in the fucking world. He gives you whatever he needs to make you happy.
Yeah.
But it got to the point COVID hit, and I had just moved from Salem, Mass, to under Bunghole Liquors in Peabody. And just built out another shop, and like we were just grinding it out. And if anybody knows Doug, even though he's great, like he was like coughing a lot, and like so he had gotten sick, and he always is usually sick. So I'm like, Doug, like I don't know, maybe we put you in the back scenes. Like I can't have you at the shop coughing and like sneezing and stuff.
Right.
And
Especially
he's
with
like,
everything we just went through with COVID. You know.
yeah, like COVID had just started, even though like I know it's bullshit, but at the time, like being in Mass, everything was nuts.
Yeah.
So he wanted to go boating, and I'm like, hey, look, why don't we figure it out? Like I had a number in my head. I go, think about what you would want for a price for everything, just to walk away. I go, and if it comes within my realm, like we're cool. If not, we'll talk, we'll figure it out. So I had this number in my head, and he literally came in 3 days later with the exact number
That's awesome.
that I had already been thinking about, because that's just like the level of partnership we were at. Like everyone's like, oh, partners are for dancing or whatever. But no, it was a great partnership.
Yeah.
And so we made this deal because I didn't have all the money at the time, you know, so I just paid him per week, you know, and he wanted to go boating. So it was like he got his check for X amount of weeks.
Yep.
So he could just go and party and have fun during
his time off.
COVID, and everyone was out on the boat. And
Right.
if he wanted to do other jobs, he did some side jobs on his own business. But yeah, it worked out great. And then came around like September and COVID, I was cranking. The printer never stopped, doing those stupid arrows on the floor and, you know,
Like
wash
QR
your
codes.
hands, you know, like
Yeah.
as much as I thought it was stupid, I'm like, if you're going to pay me to write wash your hands on a fucking thing, like I'm taking your money.
I'll capitalize on that.
Like we're all adults here.
Yeah.
You should wash your hands in the bathroom anyways,
Right.
you idiots. So I was just making those things all day long, and it came to like September, and I just like cut him a check for the rest of it. And I'm like, I knew, not only did I know where the thing was going, but like I wanted to just end it, you know, and just keep going. And then after that, it was just like, now it was all me, and I just burned through everything I could, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's good because you kept that relationship good with him. Like you didn't burn that bridge. You know, in my own kind of business life right now, like, you know, my business partner, we were good friends, man. And we had, you know, very good ambition on what we wanted to do together. And it just fucking fell apart, man.
Yeah.
And I did everything that I could, but at the end of the day, like it, you know, it just didn't work out, you know, and I wish that it did, because he's kind of in a tough place now. And I wish that I would have been in a position to help, you know? And, you know, obviously it just didn't work out that way. And, regardless of what happens, like no ill will towards anybody. It is what it is. But I've always been good at keeping relationships, even like with my kid's mother, she's still one of my closest friends. Like, I've always valued those things and try not to burn those bridges. But yeah, it just didn't work out for me like that. I wish that it did, but at the end of the day, it just didn't,
And it's weird too, because when you're friends and you're in business together, you can't hang out anymore. Like you can, but like
it's not the same.
Yeah, it's like you have to make that distinction of being like, all right, it's your birthday, we'll go out. But like, don't call me on a Thursday. Not that I don't enjoy hanging out with you, but like, we can't do that because like too much is like anything, And luckily, like, I was leaving the scene that I had met Doug in, and he still likes to have fun. So like, it was kind of like it worked out that way. But like, we'll still friggin' shoot the shit, or if I run into him. But he's multiple times. If I call him and I have like a problem, he'll drop everything he's doing and fucking drive over to my shop and help me out for the whole day and not even think twice about it. You know what I mean? That's the kind of dude he is. So it's cool. And vice versa. Like, mostly now he's like, hey, I got to borrow your lift. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Now it's role reversal.
Yeah. So
I love that. That's good, man. So that's good. I mean, I didn't know that you were in culinary and stuff. I didn't know that you got into it. I love to cook. So I'm like, I took some cooking classes and shit. I went over to Tuscan and did a couple little cooking classes over there. It was pretty cool. But yeah, no, that's cool, man. So with your business now, obviously it's blown up pretty big. What do you have? How many employees do you have?
I have 2 full-time and a few part-times. Yeah. And then some subcontractors.
Yeah. Yeah. Subs are where it's at this point for a lot of stuff. Especially in the trades or doing anything like
good
physical.
Subs.
Yeah. Yeah. Good subs are hard to find. But
not the rest of you guys.
Not the rest of you guys.
I'll still sell your signs, but get to work.
Yeah. We were actually talking about that a little bit this morning, about trying to get contractors to lock in and get their jobs done. Yeah. It's like, there's 2 different types of people. There's like the people that make enough money to survive and like, we'll work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then play business and then take 5-day weekends and kind of blow all the money that they made, and then they're back on their horse trying to make their money again. Right. And then there's people that want to scale, that want to build and kind of continue to grow their companies, and everybody has their own reasons for it. It's not always monetary value. Like for me, I come from nothing. Like I don't really need a lot, but I love building business and I like growing and being more financially free. And that's where I'm at. Will I, someday have some big mansion down on the ocean in Miami and a private jet? Yeah. Maybe, but I don't know, man. I'm good. You could put me in a shack on the beach in Miami. I'm good, so.
I'm the same way. Like I literally, I'm sure everybody doesn't believe this, but I live in a 1-bedroom fucking tiny ass apartment. Yep. I had an M4, Brant, the thing was sick. I had all the shit, but I sold that and bought a work truck with it. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just bought a new printer. So every penny I make, I don't really need anything. Right. Like I just buy either trailers or trucks or printers or put an addition on my shop or addition on a multifamily or something. So like, it's funny because I was just hanging out and my girl was over and I had just moved from another place and we had gotten DoorDash, but they didn't send the silverware. Like this is how like limited I am. Like I don't give a shit. I eat out usually all the time. So I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll just grab a fork. And I went over to my drawer and I'm like, fuck. Dude, I didn't even know because like, I don't care. Like I don't eat at home. Right. So I had no forks. I had no plates. I had thrown it all in the trash. Like I didn't give a shit. I had no glassware. I had shaker cups because I go to the gym. That's all I need. Like I have my whole protein, fucking all my shit from First Form, and that's it. Yeah. Like nothing else.
I love it.
And I did have my pots I saved because I got some. The kid with the Monte Carlo actually gave me a whole kitchen set one time, so I kept that. Yeah. A really nice one. But
so you could cook some shit, but you just can't eat it unless you're using your fingers.
I went to the store the next week. I bought everything. But that's the problem with being in culinary is like, as soon as I bought the silverware set, next thing you know, I turn around, I got a fucking whole shopping cart, like thousands of dollars worth of like knives and plates and this and that, because I'm just like the younger me came out. And I'm like, fuck, if I'm going to buy it, I'm better. I'm doing it once. I'm getting all the shit I need, you know, so.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, those come up stories are great, man. I always love that shit. Like a lot of people don't know I was homeless for 2 years. I slept on a twin size mattress on the concrete floor of my wood shop for 2 years.
Yeah.
Just to get to where I needed to be. You know what I mean? I would have never been able to open Seco's cabinet if I didn't sacrifice at that point.
Yeah.
And I actually talked about it on the last episode with my oldest son. I had Tyler on last week, and you know, it was hard on everybody. It was hard for the boys because I had split custody of the boys. I always had them 50-50.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously I can't have them sleeping in the wood shop. So, like, I'd get them on my days and we'd still hang out and shit, but I'd always bring them back home. And it was hard on everyone. It was hard on them. They, you know, had a real hard time with it. They had a hard time watching me struggle and kind of go through what I went through, but I had to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was, you know, it is what it is. Like, the shop had a little fucking kitchenette in it. I didn't have a shower, so I had to shower at the gym.
Who got your cabinets?
Huh?
Who got your cabinets for the kitchenette?
I was the guy. Yeah. They were actually old beat up ass cabinets. That's the thing though. I don't have nice cabinets. Even in my house now, you know, I have shit cabinets.
Yeah. They hold stuff.
They hold stuff. To me, it's just like
keep buying cabinets.
But yeah, you want nice stuff though, for sure.
I know I'm not supposed to look at the camera, but that was a shameless plug. Seco's cabinet.
But yeah, man, I did that for a while, and it, you know, it was what it was. It was hard. It fucking took its toll on me for sure, but I'm glad I fucking did it, you know, and I know it sucked for everyone, but you know, it is what it is. That's what I had to do.
Yeah. And it's not easy when you have kids, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't, you know, I was able to do what I did because I didn't have them, you know.
Well, and, you know, I could have been a fucking deadbeat and just not see my kids, but at the end of the day, I need them as much as they need me. So, you know, just fucking made it work. You know, it was, you know, sometimes I'd pick them up. We'd go fucking to the town park over in Kingston and like grab a pizza and go fucking swimming and do different shit, you know. Or I'd go, you know, I bought a crock pot. And like that's how I started cooking, was with the crock pot. So I'd like make some shit in the morning, throw it in the crock pot, and then at the end of the day, I'd pick them up after football practice or lacrosse or whatever, and I'd have fucking, you know, a meal at the fucking showroom.
Pulled chicken again.
Yeah, pulled chicken. Yeah, pulled pork, pulled chicken, and then, you know, taking all the leftovers and making fucking paninis out of the leftovers. That was pretty much my gig.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, you got to kind of do that. You know, even, you know, I talk about my buddy Eric, and you know, Spofford, like. He was in a little same thing, like a little 1-bedroom apartment, just kind of building his fucking empire while he was doing it, you know. Sometimes you got to sacrifice. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, mine's not as wild as yours because obviously I don't have kids. But I mean, when we started it, I was working inside. The guy who rented with Doug at the time was Joey, and I used to haul boats with him for like extra cash. And we had found a boat free on Craigslist. You young kids don't know what Craigslist is, but you used to be able to get free shit. That's how I built my
business, bro. Craigslist tools.
So we found this free boat down in Mass, and it had no engines, an old 88 Sea Ray Sundancer, 30-footer. And I showed Joey, and he's like, if the stands come with it, I'll go down and pick it up. So he drove, allegedly, with us, and we picked up this thing because basically the stands are like $350 each. So we got 8 of them with the deal.
Oh, damn.
So that was his payment for going down and picking it up. And then it had one working out drive. The other one was junk. So we ended up friggin' taking the out drive off to sell that for my slip, like down payment for $400. And I took a piece of a sign, like a Luma board. It's plywood with aluminum bonded to each side. 5,200, and then screwed that into where the out drive was. So if you don't know boats, it's a hole about fucking this big in the bottom under the water level that we sealed up, and we threw it in the water, and that's where I lived on this free boat in fucking Amesbury Marina.
I love it, dude.
And nothing fucking worked.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put a hot tub in the back to make it like kind of more of a joke, but we never did it. We got the hot tub, but we never fucking did the job.
Did you get that free on Craigslist too?
No, down in Florida. We picked it up in Key West for free. But yeah, man, it's like, it's funny because it's just like you spend every penny, you know, and I was driving it. I found with him, we were driving to do a job, and I had this old Tercel. My mom did give me one thing. Or not more than one thing, you know, but she gave me a Tercel from her driving school. Had like 300,000 miles on it, like, you know. So I was driving that at the time, and I needed a work truck. We pulled into this junkyard in Hollis, New Hampshire for like tractor trailers and trucks and shit. And in the corner, covered in pine needles and like an orange cone on the hood and like black soot from like the pine trees, was this white 88 Isuzu Trooper. And I'm
Dude,
like,
I remember those things.
dude, I'm like, I need that. And Joey's like, shut up. He's like, we're not taking that. I'm like, that truck is sick. I'm like, that's what I need. I'm like, that's my new work truck. And he's like, no. So I went in, I talked to the guy. He's like, has a blown head gasket, blah, blah, blah. She's like, $200, it's yours. I'm like, cool. So I gave him the $200. And Joey's like, we're not taking that home. I'm like, dude, come on. I need a work truck. I'm like, I can't make signs with a fucking Toyota Tercel.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, the things are going to blow up any day. So we ended up bringing it back to his shop. We bought the friggin' $30 head gasket. We tore the whole thing apart. And I drove that thing for like a year. Everywhere I went, like put big 33 by 12.5 tires on it. It was funny, but it didn't go fast at all.
Yeah.
Dude. It was like a 4-cylinder, 5-speed, fucking old box. But
low gear.
that truck, we put the ugliest truck lettering on it ever. It was like an American flag masked out. It said Peabody Sign Co. And like, I look at the signs I made when I first started for myself, and I'm like, I'm a nitwit. But like, it was funny because like after I drove for 2 months, people were like, "You're that dude with that Trooper?" You know? And I'm like, "Yeah, that's mine." And like all these old dudes are like, "Oh, I used to have one of those in high school." Blah blah. You know, and people loved it. But like,
You still got that thing? What'd you do with
no, I blew it up. I was running around on like a 90-degree August day. Knew I needed to put coolant in it, but I'm like, "Fuck it, I don't have time. I'm late for a meeting."
that?
And I ended up blowing it up on the way to a meeting. And I towed it home, and some rich dude in Martha's Vineyard bought it for like fucking $3,000. And I'm like, you know it's blown up? He's like, no, I got some old cars. I just park them in my yard on the vineyard. So
Okay.
he's got
It's all
like
you, bro.
an old CJ and stuff. And yeah, so it was pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's funny the stuff you do to make money.
Yeah. Well, and to get going, man, especially like when you're on your own.
Yeah.
Because it's, everything, everyone thinks like, oh, you own your own business, like you're fucking wealthy. And it's like, man, everything I make goes back into the business until it comes to a point where like it's as big as I want it to be, then I don't really make much.
Right.
I just make what I need to make to survive, and the rest of it just gets reinvested.
Yeah. And it's the biggest thing is like your reputation and your friends. Because like if I didn't have a reputation and I didn't have my friends, like I would have never gotten to where I was.
Right.
Because most of the people that still started with me, like they are still my customers now, but they also help me, like
Right.
everyone they talk to, they go, call him, so.
Yeah,
Good.
that's cool. Yeah, I mean, network is such a big thing, man. Friends are such a big thing. Same thing. Like I was telling you about my trailer. It helped out a buddy. He had a tree company. He's a real good friend of mine, and he needed like a dump truck and a chipper, and we needed some stuff. And I was working for him part time I had 2 full-time jobs at the time. I was doing furniture 40, 50 hours a week, and I was cutting trees and splitting firewood 40, 50 hours a week. It was when I was like 19. We just found out that, my girlfriend was pregnant with my first son, and I was like, I got to do something, make some money, because this kid's going to cost me a lot. So I just started working like crazy. And I helped him out to kind of get his little tree company up and going, and did what I could. Like I maxed out a credit card for a fucking dump truck for him, and like, just thinking that helping him out, and it was helping me out at the same time. And then fucking years later, I was telling you a story earlier that he called me one day and he's like, "Hey, come down. I want to show you like my new trailer. I got this new trailer. Check it out." So I went down. I was like, "Oh, this thing's sick, dude." And he's like, "Oh, cool. It's yours." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I bought it. It's under your name. Like, it's yours." And of course I fought him about it. And I was like, "I ain't taking that, man. I don't take handouts." Like all this shit. And he's like, "Dude, you helped me out a ton back in the day. And like, this is me repaying that favor."
Yeah.
But same thing, like he's a real good friend of mine. He gets us work, we did his kitchen. We've done a few people that he's recommended, so it's having those people I think is fucking super important. And that's one of those friends that like I could literally call right now and be like, "Hey, like I need a hand." He'd fucking leave work and fucking come do whatever. I wouldn't even have to tell him I needed a hand. I'd be like, "Hey, I need you to leave and come here." And he would just do that.
Right. And it's not even like "Hey, I helped you with that, Bill. I helped you." Sometimes it's just like, "Hey, man, how you doing?
Right.
What's up?
Yep.
You want to grab lunch?"
Yep.
Like little shit like that,
Yeah. Yeah, and
is
he's that
huge.
friend. Like if he doesn't hear from me for a while, or if I'm quiet, you get into it too. You fucking nose to the grindstone sometimes, and like I am just hyper focused on what I have at hand. Like I kind of put my personal social life on hold a lot. But same thing, he'll hit me up, be like, "Hey, how's it going, man? Where you at? What's going on?
Yeah.
Come back to reality, come back to life." Like, oh shit,
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I was out. My buddy came back from base, and I see him all the time when he comes back. But we went. We took the bikes up. We went to like Iron Tails, and we went somewhere else. And like I'll go out, but I don't like go out. So like we're sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, what do you want?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know." I'm like, "What do they make for beer?" You know what I mean? Because like I was always a Bud Light or like, a vodka guy.
Yeah.
And so then like not drinking, I'm like, I don't even know how to fucking order a drink anymore. And so then we're sitting there and we're like, and it's funny because like he's done 20 something years in the Marines, like, but I started laughing. I'm like, aren't you the one that's supposed to be at the table acting fucking weird? Like, I didn't know. We're sitting out at the thing. He's like, will you calm down? I'm like, I feel like I should be back. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to stop and sit here and just enjoy a fucking drink with my buddy.
Yeah.
Because I'm so involved with what's at the shop. And it wasn't just because of that, but like with the employees, like you take it to the next level. Like a lot of people don't understand, like there's employees that don't give a shit. There's employers that, just show up, do your job, you piece of shit, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here at 5, or there's employers that are like, man, that they got kids. I want to make sure they got all the presents they want to give their kids. I want to make sure they can get their health insurance. The car's not broken. You know what I mean? There's a different level of entrepreneurs. And, I've also found that like through Grant Cardone and Ronnie actually showed me into Andy Frisella and them, that whole crew and Arate. So like we learn how to like build better businesses and like, we're not doing it for me. Now it's like past that. So that's like also why I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Cause like, not that I'm working on a deal right now to get me out of the beach, but like at the same time, I'll make the sacrifices now to build the business bigger so that they can have the lives they want, and all my employees have their goal sheets, and they're taped at their desk. So it's like this year's goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, and there's 10 spots for each one. And like we check up. I'm like, where are you at? Like, what are we doing to get to that next step? Because it's not about just showing up and doing work. Like you want them to be happy.
Yep.
You don't want them driving some dirty old broken car.
Yep.
Like my fabricator kills it. He's got a sick fucking Duramax truck. He's got all his dirt bikes and all this stuff. And he goes out and goes riding and has, the time of his life, and he kills it for me. So I want to make sure that he's happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And same with everyone else that works for me. When they show up, like they're ready to kill, but I'm also like, they don't have to worry where the paycheck's at. You know what I mean? And that's because I'm going to go that much harder to make sure that they're set, you know? And if we have to get another employee to help pick up some slack, like I'm going to work that much harder to get that many more jobs so we can afford that. So that you're not putting in 70 to 80 hour weeks when you can still go have fun at home. You know what I mean? Like you got to have your own life. So I'll sacrifice mine just because I love building shit. I don't enjoy as much sitting at home and doing like little things. I love building fucking businesses. I like building signs because at the end of the day, like I'm selling somebody else's business. So like when someone shows up or you show up to a job and your trailer looks sick because there's a flag on it and it's not peeling at the corners, it's not all fucked up, it's not a pixelated print, like it looks beautiful and you look good, that's my job. You know what I mean? When you're walking down the street and you see a restaurant and the sign looks like shit, you won't go in and eat there.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So like, and that's where I love working down the beach because like Al has awesome designs. So you go down Hampton Strip and like you see Wally's or the Green Room and you're like, wow, that place looks fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And then they're calling me for the next location. Not because the sign broke. You know what I mean? So they're like, yeah, we just opened another one in Portsmouth, and then they opened another goat in Manchester, and then they opened another one in Newburyport. You know what I mean? And when they call me, they're like, we need this in 10 days. Like, they know we're the guys that are going to take care of it. You know what I mean? Whereas like some people like, oh yeah, we're 3 months out. You can call and get on our list. Like, dude, you got to wait 3 months for a fucking sign?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You kidding me? Like, no, we'll just work harder.
Yeah, work
Figure it
later.
out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard. Like, most people don't build their own signs. They buy them from China.
Right.
Whereas, like, we have all the tools.
Yep.
But it's bigger than me. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm making sure, and my crew's making sure, and they all know this, like, we're not building a sign just to get a fucking paycheck. Like,
Right.
we want to build that sign so good that you can pay for your kids' toys, your kids' hockey, your kids' football, whatever you need to do, because that sign brought in as much business as possible.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that, man. And I think that we both see kind of eye to eye on that. Because for me, like, seeing, so John, who, we're in his studio right now, he does all the recording, he does a bunch of stuff for our cabinet company. His wife is my lead designer. And, they had a baby a couple years ago. She's what, 2 now? 2.5, man, crazy.
You're supposed to say months. How many months? Quick, how fast can you figure it out?
It's 50 weeks. But yeah, so, for me, like, seeing them grow as a family and seeing them have their baby and buy the house and get new cars and like, seeing her succeed and growing in the business. And, she started with us. She didn't have any experience as a kitchen designer. She had a interior design degree, so she started with us. And at the time, like, I didn't have any kind of training. Like, I didn't have very little standard operating procedures. Like, so she's been since the beginning. And like watching her grow as a designer and be more and more successful, like, I love that shit, man. Yeah. And like, there's times where I don't take a paycheck to make sure that everybody else is paid. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest reasons that I love being a business owner and entrepreneur, is like helping other people and watching other people succeed and build through the business that I've created. Right. I love that shit. Like we have another designer. She's been with us for about 1.5 years, and she started off as a client. We went out to measure her kitchen, and she had all this stuff written out. She had this design done. She had her door selections and finish selections and all this shit. And I was like, "What do you do for a living?"
She just handed the payroll paperwork.
Right. She's like, "Well, I do this." She was working at like this little design studio, like selling sofas and rugs and shit. And I was like, "Well, if you're ever looking, like, I'm looking to hire a designer, like, you definitely have everything it takes." So I took her out for lunch, and we had a good lunch, really good conversation, and ended up hiring her. And she had no experience in it. And, same thing, like watching her, she just did her own kitchen at her own house, was doing this big renovation at her own house, and watching her grow as an employee and like, watching her just learn what she has to learn. And like, she takes so much, watching her to like take pride in it, because she was a stay-at-home mom forever, Yeah. So like she just kind of got back out in the workforce, and, watching her like do this stuff and like take pride in the work that she's doing, and like she cares about her customers like crazy. So like, I love that stuff, man. Like that's the reason that I do it. And same as you, like, I'll sacrifice my own life, my own personal life, to make sure that they're succeeding, to make sure they're being paid. Right. And at the end of the day, like, I know that if I hang up my hat tomorrow and this all fails, I'm letting all them down. And right. Like, that's what, those things are what keep me up at night. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we have to bring in more sales. We have to do more, because I can't, the thought of like closing the doors and telling them like, hey, there's no longer a company, like it would crush me. You know what I mean? So like, do anything that I can to make sure. And it's not for my own sake, for the most part. Like, if it fails, it fails. I could start something else tomorrow if needed. But the reason that I'm so hesitant or like just completely against that is because of them, Right. And I think that's important, man. I could never be one of those, shitty business owners that just makes as much as possible, takes as much money from the company as possible. And then, designers are driving around these old beat up vehicles and kind of shit boxes and having problem paying their own bills and stuff. Like, I couldn't live with myself if I was that kind of guy. No. So we talked a lot, man. We've talked a lot about kind of what you've been doing, current stuff. Like, where do you see your business going? Next 1, 3, 5, 10 years, like, where do you want this thing to go? How big you want to blow this thing up?
We're going to keep growing. Luckily, well, not luckily for them. I don't want to be happy about someone going out of business, but one of the bigger sign companies in the area just went bankrupt.
Oh, no
at the
shit.
beginning of the year. They were huge. And so our influx has been a little bit, it was a bubble and now it's starting to, but I want to keep growing. I want to get more people to an extent and keep growing it comfortably. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to just blow out of the sky and then next thing you know, I'm the next guy who everybody's talking about on a podcast like I just did. But my main thing right now is I'm just like, we're buying all the equipment, buying all the right equipment so we can do the best signs possible and getting good people in there. I have an awesome crew right now. They work so fucking hard and they are very polite. They take care of all the customers, just like you said. And then I'm just collecting what I can and buying properties, and building the business at the same time.
Yep.
Because in honesty, like you can run a business. I could run this business till I was 85, but do I want to do that? I don't want to be up on a fucking bucket truck drilling into a piece of steel at 80,
right?
With bird shit and fucking wasps and like,
Yeah.
People think I have this like fun job. Like we deal with the worst signs, like rusted, broken, falling down. Call me when a fucking blizzard's happening, like shit flying around and like, it's not the easiest job, but it's not the hardest job. You know what I mean? Everything has its good days and its bad days. So I'm just hoping. My plan is to get, as many units as possible, get into more real estate and all that. And
rental properties or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that and then just build the business as big as we can get it, while still taking care of our people. Like, I know I mentioned Andy, we was just out at First Forum for the Arate Summit, and it was like, if anybody gets a chance to go to that fucking place and you're an entrepreneur, like go.
Yeah.
It was insane the level that this guy runs at 24/7. Every employee was like insane, perfect running it. Like there wasn't a drop of water on the floor. There wasn't a piece of trash out of the trash can. All the books were lined up perfectly. Like, and that's just how it is. You know what I mean? So it's like he's grown to a massive level at such a rate, but like all his employees are like on fire every day. You know what I mean?
And 100% on board.
We went into their gym and all the logos on the weights have to be directly up and down. So the gym's massive. And if you fuck it up, you lose your rights for like 3 months, they said. You can't use the gym.
No shit.
And like, it's a big honor to even be when you first start, you don't get to go use it. Like you have to be allowed in there. And then like everything has to be put away. You can't re-rack the weights wrong. You can't put them in the wrong line. Like you can't leave trash anywhere. You don't wipe down your equipment. Like they watch everything.
No shit.
So it's like wild to see. Like the parking lot's clean. You drive around the parking lot. Everybody's cars are nice, taken care of. Even if they're older, they're freaking well maintained, which is like a huge key factor I look at when I see business owners. Like if your guy's driving a beat up old motorcycle, it still reeks like fucking alcohol the night before. Like you're doing something wrong as a business owner.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to grow it respectfully and take care of the people that help me build what we're doing.
Yep.
And keep that vision going. And hopefully we can change the industry, because if anybody's bought a sign ever, besides buying it from me, then the industry is absolute trash. Like nobody answers the phone, nobody returns phone calls or emails. You give them a deposit, you wait fucking 2.5 months if you're lucky, and then either the sign's put up without a permit, most likely now, because nobody has the GC license to go get the permits, or they're not put up with a UL listing where they're required to have UL listing, or they just throw it up. And like anything, you can buy a Honda or you can buy a Mercedes. So a lot of people don't know, like the graphics that you can buy, the vinyl can be like 3-month rated, or it can be up to 14-year rated. So like then the printers are old, or you can have like a new printer like me and a couple other people have that are like, the UV ink is so strong that like it doesn't fade. So, but they're selling you the same product, the other guys. So like that's what I'm trying to battle and hope I can build this business so that other sign companies are like, hey, let's do it like that guy.
He did it right.
Because one, he kills it. He's got great equipment. He lives the life. He's got the car, whatever. But like at the same time, like we're doing it the right way. You know, we don't sell anything unless you came and you're like, I just want the cheapest thing possible. Yeah, we'll take care of you.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, nothing goes out that's not at least rated for 7 years minimum. Because like, what's the point of buying something?
Right.
You know what I mean?
If you got to change it out in a year or two.
Where
Yes.
like I'll do a job and someone's like, oh, this guy did it cheaper. I'm like, cool, whatever. And then I drive by the job and it's the 3-month material and he sold it to you as it was fucking. I look at the invoice because they said, this is what he sold us and it says 7-year on it. And I'm like, you know, get your shit together. Like
Yeah.
there's a guy around here, we won't say his name, but in the industry, he's called 6-month signs. That's his name from all the suppliers and everything. So it's like, dude, like that's your reputation. Your shit lasts 6 months. Like, come on, man. So like, if I can build an industry leading company that people can look up to,
Yeah.
people have great lives from, you know, and then I can kick a little retirement and buy as many fucking multifamilies as possible. That's my goal.
That's the goal.
You know, and then, you know, that goes with the real estate too. Like I got a tenant who's trying to downsize and they're like, are you buying anything around the Dover area right now? And I'm like, well, no, like kinda, like I'm working on something right now, but they were like, well, we've rented in the past and like, we don't want to go anywhere else, but like, we can't afford the 3-bedroom because now we don't need it because they had lost it. They had bought the 3-bedroom for their dog, you know, but they're like, you're the best fucking landlord we've ever had. Like you take care of shit, you know, you help us out, like all this stuff, like you cater to us, you know, whereas like, I'd rather give you a place you enjoy coming home to, you know what I mean? Where you got all these slumlords out here.
Right. And
you know,
most of them in that industry are slumlords.
If your shit's broken, they don't come.
Right.
You know, even if it's something like they had before they moved in, the stove was a little bit old. And I'm like, fuck it. Like, I don't like that thing myself. I wouldn't want to come home to that. So I went out and got a stainless stove and brought it up the day they were moving in and plugged it in and all that shit. And they called me like 3 months later and they're awesome. They're like, hey, I don't want to bother you, but like the warming part of the oven is broken. Like if I get like, it's a new stove, like whatever, I'm like, nah, dude, like we'll fix it. So like we brought it and they were so thankful.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't use the warming thing, but we just wanted to tell you didn't have to fix it. I'm like, no, dude, like it's broken.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if you paid me the money, you want a home, you want your friends to come over, whether you use it or not, it has to be available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it just goes like that. You know, when they were coming in, they were a little bit strapped on cash. I'm like, look, I don't really care what color you paint it. If you want, I'll take fucking like X amount off the rent. You just paint it whatever color you want. It's probably still the same fucking color.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I gave them that option. They're like, dude, we would love to get, you know, X off the fucking first month's rent. And so, I don't know. It's
Sounds
be a
more
good
like
person,
sounds like more of a character thing than anything else. Like that's
Yeah.
just who you are. You stay true to that, and
Yeah.
not a lot of people do. Well, not a
it's
lot of
only
good.
money.
Not a lot of good people do. I
Yeah.
feel like assholes and scumbags usually stick to who they are.
Yeah.
But the good people don't always. And I think that speaks volume of just who you are as a person and what your character, the integrity of your character is.
Yeah.
You know, because I look at it like, so I do a lot of Airbnbs, right? I travel up and down the East Coast and kind of all over the country with my kids in lacrosse. We go all over the fucking place. So like, I think I've stayed in like over 50 Airbnbs kind of up and down the East Coast over the past like 5 or 6 years. And I have a 5-star rating as a tenant in Airbnb.
Nice.
And I take pride in that.
Yeah.
Like most people probably don't, but I do. I love that shit. When I fucking leave that place, it's spotless. I clean up. I fluff the fucking pillows, dude. Like I do everything that I can to make it as easy as possible because I appreciate those people letting me stay in their house.
Yeah.
Most people that rent like that could fucking care less, you know, and they leave a mess and they fucking make a ton of noise and they don't do all the things that you're supposed to do as like a tenant for Airbnb. And like I keep my 5-star rating and I've been able to do that over like the past 5 or 6 years because that's just who I am. If you invite me into your house, I'm going to take care of your house, whether I know you or I don't fucking know you,
Yeah.
you know?
I kind of have a flip side to that one though.
What's that?
So I don't know. I'm just like, I get that portion of it, and like that's the kind of demon I fight with myself. But at the same time, like I could go to a Marriott and pay less money and stay at a Brent and do nothing. They fluff your pillows and they fucking do your thing.
Yeah.
Like the thing that kills me at Airbnbs is like while I'm there, I'm going to keep it clean. But at the same time, like they give you this laundry list of shit you're supposed to do. And it's like a self-checkout at fucking Walmart. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you want me to self-checkout, don't fucking check my receipt.
Right.
You know, but like at the same time,
And don't
like,
charge me $300 for a cleaning fee.
You do it, but yeah, if you're renting a place for $3,000 a week, and then you want me to do the fucking dishes,
Yeah.
like no, fuck off.
I get that.
You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
want me to take the trash out a mile down the street and throw it in the fucking no, fuck you. You're paying a cleaner to come in tomorrow.
Right.
Make them do it. Pay the extra $100 because that'd be the same thing. And I get why you do it, but this always just irked me because I'm like, that'd be like me doing a sign and showing up and like dropping off the truck and be like, all right, cool, install it.
See ya. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or it's like me doing a sign and then just leaving trash all over the fucking floor. Like,
Yeah.
so it's a business.
Yeah.
If it's somebody that it's like, oh, mom and pop have this like vacation house and they just do it, like these 80-year-old people do it for like extra money, cool. Like I'm compassionate towards that.
Yeah.
And I'll help out. But like, if I look at your Airbnb and it's a fucking business, like be an entrepreneur, be a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't make my tenants, you know, do all this shit if they leave trash, then I'm going to have to clean it up. If
Right.
they don't patch the walls, I'm going to have to clean it up. It's in the fucking lease.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they damage it, that's why there's a security deposit. They have a security deposit on you staying at Airbnb.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, I get where you're coming, but the whole dishes thing and the trash, like obviously you're not going to burn a pot of rice and leave it on the fucking stove.
Right.
If not, you're an asshole. But like
Yeah.
there is I don't know. I think Airbnbs went nuts during COVID and they got to really take a different approach to that portion. Like if they're not coming in the day you leave to clean, that's on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you should be clean anyways.
A lot of the times where we stay is like you can always tell when it's somebody who's if it's their house, right?
Yeah.
Like because it usually in the description it'll talk a lot about like how they had it, why they have it, like came passed down from families and that type of stuff. Because usually I get like nice Airbnbs, I find nice places. I don't do like the condos or like the apartments. It's always like its own house, like usually near a body of water or something. But for me, it's like
fancy.
Oh, I'm fucking so fancy, yeah. But the thing is
Must be
like
nice.
I don't spend a lot of money on myself, but if it's an experience, I usually spend the money.
Especially with your kids.
With the boys, right? Yeah, and that's our summer vacation every year. Like we don't take vacations; they fucking play lacrosse for 2 or 3 months. Like so, our vacations are usually mixed in with college tournaments and showcases and all that type of stuff. But for me, it's like I can tell when a house is taken care of and like when the house is like owned by the family. Like I feel this obligation to just be a fucking good tenant and take care of it as I'm there.
Those
Trust
are the
me,
good ones.
there's been some ones that like, you walk in and there's like shit everywhere, or like they didn't clean up very well. Like those are the ones that I don't really do much for. I ain't stripping your beds. Like you want to do that, you can do that shit yourself. Like I'm going to leave the dishes in the dishwasher. You can wash those yourself.
Right.
But if I go into a house, dude, and it's like taken care of and they have like family fucking pictures and like that, I'm like, all right, I got to take care of this place,
I got a buddy of mine, and he knows who he is when he hears the story, but we won't say names. And great dude, good friend of mine. But one day he called me up, and he's got a Airbnb, and he's on the phone with me. He's like, man, did they stay in this one? Like, it looks like they did, but I'm not sure. I'm like, dude, you just got a shit ton of money for a fucking week. I'm like, change the damn sheets. You know what I mean? Like, you lazy fuck. And he starts laughing. He's like, I know. I'm like, dude, how much does it really cost you to do laundry for fucking 5 more beds?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just do the damn, like, same thing. It's a business. Like, just do your job.
Yeah,
You know
do
what I
your
mean?
job.
And he's probably going to mad at me because I don't remember, but whatever. But
all right,
I
we
have no
won't-
problem
we
calling
won't
people
name
out
drop.
on that. Yeah, we don't name drop. But dude, it's like everybody, you got to stop going 75%. Like, people got to go fucking all in and stop. We were talking about it earlier. Like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. This shit's so hard. Yeah, motherfucker, that's what you signed up for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Every day is going to suck. Every day is going to be fucking hard. Somebody's going to fucking beat you up. Somebody's going to try and fucking kill your business. You're 3 steps away from being bankrupt. Always. I don't care what anybody says. But like, go in, work hard, stop bitching. You want to go bitch? Leave it off Facebook. Go talk to somebody that's a fucking therapist or some shit.
Right. Or a business coach or something.
Or start a podcast. I don't know. That's what they say now. But like, it's like
therapy session.
All these people, like, I see it all the time. And like, I know you work hard. Like, I don't want to step on any feathers, but like, people have to start realizing, like, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, like, you signed up for this. Like, and if you have time to complain, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing to get through that. You know what I mean? If you have anxiety, Grant Cardone says it all the time, anxiety is because you're not doing enough fucking shit. You have too much time to fucking fall back and think about shit. Like, no, just keep working, get your nose to the grindstone, and do the fucking work. And then it'll be over. If you're sitting there and you're procrastinating, you're like, oh, I really got to call those 3 guys, but that guy's going to be a dick. Fucking call.
Just do it.
It's just a conversation. Do the fucking work. You know what I mean? Like, don't friggin' bounce out and try and be home at 5. You know, everyone's like, oh, must be nice, motherfucker. I'm up at like 3:30 or 4 every morning. You know, and I'll work until the work's done. Like, that's it. And like, when you had to, it was 18 and 20-hour days, 6-7 days a week. But it is what it is. Those are sacrifices. I signed up for it. I'm not on Facebook saying poor me or sharing those fucking things that come around every fucking. I see the stupid thing. Everybody shares them. It's like, work weekends, work in the rain. Like, shut up. Like, you know what I mean? If you wanted a 9-to-5, go get a 9-to-5 with a 401k and whatever else benefits you fucking want. You know what I mean? If you don't want to fucking be outside, work a desk job. I don't know what to fucking tell you. But like, you know, if there's a job and I have to go up 70 feet in the air and work and it's fucking raining out, then we're going to work in the fucking rain 70 feet in the fucking air. You know, we had a job one time. I'll never forget it. I was supposed to be on a flight to Key West in a couple hours. We needed the money. This is down in Medford. And we had my old 65-foot crane truck I built. It's pouring rain, and it's like March. So it's like the snow's on the ground, and it's at like 33-degree fucking rain, where it's not snow, but it's close. Fucking sucks. And it's midnight.
And it soaks you down to the bone.
And we're sitting there, and it was one of those cranes like I had to operate, and Doug's up on a fucking metal ladder, hugging the sign. The wind's blowing the thing around, and he's stick welding this fucking thing, and he's soaked. So every third thing he hits, he fucking shocks himself from this Miller Trailblazer, fucking big welder. And we're down in Medford. So I'm supposed to jump on a flight, and like, we ended up started laughing because I'm like, oh, wonder where that plane's going. Doug's on the thing. He's like, you motherfuckers. But like, we're just drenched. We'd been there for like 8 hours putting these 2 signs up because everything takes longer in the rain. But it's like, yeah, whatever. I'm talking about it now, but I'm not bitching because like that job paid for the thing, and like, it's just what we had to do. So like, if you guys sign up for entrepreneurship, like, stop fucking complaining online. Go do your job. And like, yeah, it's going to suck if somebody asks you and you start talking about shit. But like, if you're always miserable and you say it always sucks, that kid that wants to own a business someday is going to be like, why should I even fucking do this? You know what I mean? Whereas like, you know, when I got the M4, I'd like to drive it around. And every time somebody asks me, hey, like, you know, how'd you get? I'm like, I worked my ass off. You know, you can do it too. You know what I mean? I drive a fucking nice, brand new Chevy Duramax High Country. Like, you know, I think I've gone through fucking, 8 trucks in the last. I got the manager for Amesbury Chevy's cell phone number, for Christ's sakes. The last one I bought was before they even opened. So like, yeah, like it all comes in due time, but like, just stop bitching about it, man. Like you opened a business. It's not going to be easy. Do the fucking work. And stop bitching about it online, because that kid that's growing up is reading your shit. Your nephew, your niece, or some guy you don't even know. I have people come up to me, I don't even know who the fuck they are these days. It happens almost every week. Like, hey, we're friends, or whatever. I'm like, cool. You know, but it's like, you never know who you're impacting. So when you're online and you're like, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. I hate fucking being an entrepreneur. Like, what if that guy just gave up on his dreams
Because of what
and
you said.
that guy could have helped 1,000 or 10,000 fucking people,
Right.
because he read your thing and thought it was going to suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, we have a responsibility to be real men. I have a hat that says "Make Men Great Again." We have to be real fucking men, and we're like, work hard, and like, yeah, you can talk about your feelings, but like, dude, just do the fucking work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, do it in a manner that like, if somebody sees you, they're gonna look up to you, and like, do it respectfully with integrity. So like, that kid might be like, man, I want to be like him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got all the shit, you know, like, cool, I got gold chain and shit, but like, it's not about that. It's about helping as many people as you can, you know, and being that figure in society that people are like, that guy's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He helps a lot of people. Or, you know, you see the kid at the lemonade stand and you pull up in the fucking nice car and you buy all the lemonade from him.
Buy the pitcher.
And like, man, how'd you do that? And be like, yeah, I started with a lemonade stand too.
Yep.
You know, I used to trap beavers with my dad in 7th grade. And this is a funny story.
Trap
I got
beavers?
suspended from this one. So, yeah, Massachusetts they made trapping illegal. So the towns would pay us to go in and trap. And there was only so many trappers in Mass. So 7th grade, my dad was like a North Maine woods guide, and we grew up hunting. And so they used to give us $500 to set up. We had 10 days to catch as many beavers as possible. And we got like $300 a beaver. And if I did all the work and lugged all the shit, he would pay me, like, I think it was half or whatever for doing all the work. And so it was great for him. He didn't do shit. But so we would do this, but we would go at like 3 a.m. before school. So we had to go out to all these sites and whatnot. And I remember one day, dude, I was late to homeroom, and my dad had dropped me off, and I went in, and they're like, you're late, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck you. So like 7th grade, so we had caught like 8 beavers that morning and set up a site. So like, that's a lot of fucking money.
Before school.
Before 7, 8, or 8 a.m.
Right.
I'm in 7th grade. So I was a douchebag, and I'm like, fuck you, I'm not listening to you. And the teacher's like, excuse me? I'm like, yeah, dude, I ain't fucking listening. Why would I listen to you? And like, I was also working like other jobs too at the time. And so probably illegal. How old was I at that time? Yeah, mostly illegal. But
That's what it is, in theory.
yeah, it is what it is. So friggin', she starts yelling at me, and I go, look, I'm not listening to you because I just made more money before fucking school started this morning than you're gonna make all fucking week. And like right to the principal's office. Whereas I spent a lot of time growing up, but
I was with you.
the principal got so mad, and they thought I was lying. So next thing you know, he suspends me. I'm like, fuck you, I'm not getting suspended. I go, I wasn't fucking lying. So they called, I'll never forget, my dad called in. He walks in, and like, my dad used to teach at the school back in the day, so he knows everybody. And he's like, what's the problem? And I'm sitting there in the principal's office. He's like, your son's lying, da-da-da. And he goes, well, what's he lying about? He goes, he told the teacher he wasn't listening to him because he didn't have to, because he made more money this morning than that teacher's going to make all week. And we can't have that kind of disorder, lying going on in school. And my dad just turns around and he goes, huh, well, what's a teacher make a week? And the principal's like, well, that's not part of the conversation. He goes, no, that's exactly what the conversation is. He goes, what's the number? Because I used to work here, so I might know. And it's biweekly, so give me the week. And the principal's like, well, probably about this. He goes, well, my son's not lying, so send him back to fucking class. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, and he blurted out the number, whatever it was, and he's like, yeah, my son made more money this morning than you fucking gonna make all week. So send him back to class, and don't ever waste my fucking time bringing my kid in here ever again. And yeah, they never called my parents again. I went back to class, and that teacher changed his tune ever since then.
That's hilarious.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of going back to like your thing about complaining, some of these people bitching and complaining about being business owners, I think it's important to talk about the struggles and to make sure people understand that this isn't all fucking unicorns and butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but, you know, like when I do it, I'll put up, you know, some stuff like, oh, this is what we're going through now, but this is why we're doing it. We're
Right.
going to go through it. We're going to continue to keep doing what we're doing. sales are down, but this is what we're going to do to correct that, because you don't want the other side of it, right? You don't want everyone to think that like this is just easy.
Right.
Start a business, you're a multimillionaire, and then you don't have to work anymore, because that's not the reality of it.
Yeah.
And the shit rolls downhill. As a business owner, you're at the bottom of the hill. So people should recognize that, but I'm with you. Like when I block so many people for that stuff. Well, like when I see them start bitching and complaining about stuff, I'm just like, dude, block. Like I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the negativity, like, because that shit can rub off. Like I'm almost like afraid of like catching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you read it and you're like, oh shit, like I got to take a shower now.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that stuff, man. But I think at the same time, it's also important to put out there that like, yeah, this is hard, man. This is hard. We have to work hard for this. We're continuously struggling, always trying to build, always trying to grow. Today I have a U-Haul parked out in the parking lot that's full of cabinets. Like I was supposed to deliver them on Friday. And the only reason that I'm the one that's delivering them is because it's a big investor. We want to build a new relationship with this person. So I want to go up with the cabinet so I can shoot the shit with the guy and try and build that relationship, right? So, 7:30 this morning, I'm renting a U-Haul, loading up my U-Haul with a bunch of cabinets, and then we're driving up to Moultonboro, New Hampshire after this to deliver them. That sucks.
You're not going to go for an hour-long lunch?
No,
get a beer or two?
There won't be a lunch, brother. There's definitely no beers involved. I'll be eating my granola bar that's in my my gym bag and my protein shake, probably. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think that but that's the reality of it, right? Like today, I'm not sitting in my office. I'm not outside doing sales. I'm not networking. I'm delivering cabinets in the heat. But I'm not complaining. Like that's what I got to do today, and I'm doing it because I want to build this relationship with this guy. And this house is cool as shit, and there's a ton of work to be done up there, and I want more of it. You know, so that's what I got to do today.
And at the same point, to further that is like, I tell all my friends that are starting, like, call me.
Yeah.
If you got a fucking problem and you don't know what it is, I've done it. Like I fucked that up multiple times. Like, you know what I mean? And probably bigger than you got going on. So like I always tell my friends running business, I'm like, don't even think about it. If you think you might have an issue, just fucking call me. It takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I can save you a month of fucking heartache.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Especially when it comes down to like purchasing, buying, whether or not you're going to make that next step. Can you afford that? I had a buddy of mine call me and he's like, I might have to get a line of credit. I got these jobs going and I was just sitting there. I'm like, well, what's your profit margin? Because if you're going to take a line of credit, but then you got to wait and then you got to take credit cards out to pay for your shit. Now you're losing all this percentage on interest. Like, are you going to make the same amount of profit or are you going to break even and the whole job's not even fucking worth it?
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's like, I didn't think about it like that. I'm like, well, you have to.
Yeah.
He's like, how'd you know that? I'm like, because I fucked it up. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I lost money to make money. I get it.
There's no reason we both have to fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why us bigger, and the people we don't have to help because they're assholes. But like the good younger entrepreneurs, like it's our responsibility to help them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And our responsibility to give them the tools to grow. Yep. And that's why like you'll see. And I don't do this to be vain and like take attention, but like I always share. Like the girl that works for me opened a photography studio. She does a great job. Every time she posts something and I see it, I share it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And like my old boat business, I gave to my buddy that I started the glass cleaning business with, and I always tag him or anybody that's my friend in my circle gets tagged.
Yep.
You have to work together to like build these things. For sure. And who knows? Like that one, I could share her photography thing and then friggin' she meets that one person or that one job that changes her entire trajectory in life. You know what I mean? So you never know what you're doing, but you got to it's my responsibility to help all the people below me as is yours,
Yeah. And same thing. Like I have friends that'll call me and have ask questions about business and stuff. And I don't have all the answers, man. No. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, I don't have the time. Like, I fucked that up before. That's why I know it now. But I don't know everything. But I do have a huge network of people and people that can help. So like, if you need help or if you have questions, let me know. And if I don't have the answer for you, then I definitely know the person that does. Right. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I try not to be like the know-it-all. Yeah, I have a lot of experience in this and I've been doing it for a long time, but it doesn't mean I have all the answers.
Yeah.
But that's where the network is important, and having those friends and knowing those people, because, you know, more than likely I've done favors for those people, and those people owe me a favor. So like I can call and say, hey, I have this buddy that's got this going on.
Right.
What's your advice? What can you do? You know? And that's, you know, the same thing actually with this investor that I'm working with right now. You know, he needed he needed a bunch of stuff, right? So they've invested in properties before, they've bought properties, but this is a whole different thing. Like they bought a mansion on top of this hill. It's got like 5 different outbuildings with it. So they're trying to do and it's got like a 9-hole golf course on it. So they're trying to do like an event venue. And then the other buildings will be like, you know, for the wedding party or for short-term rentals and that type of stuff. And they've never really dove into that. So I was like, oh, well, I have a friend that has a short-term rental business, like that she manages short-term rentals. Let me put you in touch with her. Put her in touch with her. And then she needed somebody for a website. So I put her in touch with somebody that does websites. And, you know, so they ended up using like 6 referral sources from me for like different things in different industries. And then, you know, come to find out, like he has 4 or 5 other jobs going on. This guy still is swinging a hammer, like, and, you know, has done pretty well for himself, but still runs a tool belt. He's like, oh, I got this job. Like, I can't get to it. I'm like, dude, what do you need? He's like, well, I'd love to, like, I got to find a contractor out this way. So I fucking sent 3 text messages out, and everybody I sent the message out got in touch with them within like 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, yeah, I can't come out and help you build this house, but like, I know a guy, you know? So it's like, you know, stuff like that. Like, and this guy knows much more about all this stuff than I do, because he's been doing it forever, like that realm of things. But like, I know people that can help. You know, I have those resources. I can help out with that, you know. And what's good about it is that like now when that guy needs cabinets, or if he needs anything, he can hit me up. You know what I mean? And it's like you build this cool relationship with this guy, and hopefully it turns into more business for us down the road. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, I hooked up a few people, and I got some other people some business from it, and like help them out at the same time. That's what I do. I love that shit, man. Like when I can make referrals to somebody for something, I love that. Like I'm so into that.
And those people, just from your character, know like if you give a referral, they better come with the heat. Because like I don't give out referrals very lightly. I have about certain amount of people I'll actually tag. Yeah. And if you fuck up more than once, like you're done.
You're
like,
off the list.
I will not write your name. I will not tell anybody. You know what I mean? So
there's been a few people dropped off my damn list for sure.
It's crazy how some people just like you refer them, and then they'll act like it doesn't fucking matter. It's like, no, dude, like you're coming with my name.
Yep.
So like if I say yes, they're gonna expect my level of shit coming from you,
right?
Or at least a little bit under.
Yeah.
But like, it's nuts
for sure. Yeah, and I've gone that route, man. Referring contractors out to do kitchens, and then they fuck up on the kitchen, and then they like trying to put it on me like we fucked up. And it's like, dude, I got you this job. Like, what are you doing? I'm not new to this. I've been installing fucking years. Like, it's clearly not a design issue. You put the panel in the wrong place, or you put the cabinet in the wrong spot, dude. Like, and I'm not going to call you out in front of the customer, but like, don't try and like play that game. But as soon as that stuff happens, man, off the list. Next one's on.
I spent 3 years trying to build a building in my camp in Wakefield. Couldn't even get the septic guy to give me a revision. And I'm like, dude, what the, like, do you want more money? So I'm talking to the dude who did the addition at my thing. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, what's the disconnect? And Jake's like, man, he's like, I love fucking working for you. He's like, you call me trying to pay me before I'm even done with the job. He's like, you can fucking hire me for anything. I'm like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. And I know you're going to show up and do it. You might get busy.
Right.
But like, you're going to keep in contact with me, you know, and be like, hey, I had something with the kids. Like, I'm like, cool, get the job done. Yeah. You know, but he's like, I can't believe you couldn't get someone to finish that job. Cause he's like, you always pay your bill. Like, I don't know anybody, and I might owe Amex some money once in a while, but besides that, everybody's fucking paid. Yeah. You know what I mean? Cause I'm a freak. I can't go to sleep if I owe people money.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hate being in debt.
Yeah.
Any other in debt to anyone. I'm not a big fan of that. Never have been.
I don't mind Amex because they give me points for free vacations. By the way, if everyone's like, oh, you go on all these fucking vacations. Yeah, Amex paid for that, all right? Fuck off. Like, they pay for the airport lounges. They pay for the free Ubers. They pay for all the shit. Yeah. Like, get yourself an Amex and do some hard work. Buy a lot of shit. And it's amazing how much they do everything. Yeah. Like, I can go on vacation and not have to spend a penny from the amount of shit I buy.
With them, yeah.
You know? And then you're getting, like, the nicer seats and the nicer hotel rooms and all the shit. Like, if you haven't really dug into Amex and how much like they give you Dell credits and everything.
Yeah.
So like everyone's like, oh, you got all this cool shit. You go all these places. It's like, yeah, I don't pay
Because
for
I
it.
did this.
You know what I mean? I just buy it with their money and then pay them back.
Right.
So it's free.
I love that.
So you can go on like 2 or 3 vacations a year for free. You know?
All right, man. I mean, I feel like we're kind of getting towards the end of this thing. We have a segment we do at the end called Toolbox Tips. So pretty much you'd be giving everybody the tip. John keyed that phrase. Just the tip, though. So I guess just what would you give somebody, just practical advice that you would give somebody that's either getting into entrepreneurship or getting into like doing signs or getting into the trades, or somebody that wants to get into something, whether it's working for somebody else or working for themselves. Like, what is that like kind of key factor that you would give them as a tip or advice?
I tell everybody that comes in, because in the business, I meet new entrepreneurs. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And everyone that comes in is kind of in the same boat. They're excited, this and that, but they're not educated. And school doesn't educate you. So there's one thing every entrepreneur has to know how to do, and that's fucking understand the tax laws. And your taxes are fucking a waste of money, and they don't actually use them. They could just print the money and pay for all the shit. The taxes are just there so that you're enslaved. So you're paying 50 to 60% tax rate, and you can't afford to buy those new machines or those new employees. That's why you're taxed. Your money doesn't actually go to the government, and they don't buy the fucking roads and shit with it. So like,
Not when they're trillions of dollars in debt.
yeah, so they just print more money. So the thing is, like, there's a book out there. It's called Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright, and he's Robert Kiyosaki's CPA. The dude's brilliant, and I tell everyone, read that book. It's Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright, and it's basically teaches you how to like build your business around the tax code, because 95% of the tax code is written so that you do not have to pay taxes. 5% is what we're taught in schools. So you go to school, get a paycheck, pay the fucking Social Security and all that bullshit, and then you get your little piece and you get to go spend it, which then you spend it on more tax shit like fucking fuel, and food gets taxed and hotels get taxed and all this crap. So like, this book teaches you as an entrepreneur, like, yeah, I could take 40 grand, as a paycheck and then go buy this. So you just got taxed on that. Or you could buy this specific product or this specific building or these types of options, and it's tax free. So like, you got to buy a truck anyways. You got to buy a trailer. You got to buy all this shit that comes along with running a business. But people don't know how to do it. And most CPAs and bookkeepers don't know their ass from their elbow. They go to a college course, they learn their shit, and then they friggin' tell all their friends they're a fucking bookkeeper, a CPA, but they don't dive into the tax laws and, I guess, the loopholes. Like Donald Trump says, he goes, I don't pay taxes because I'm smart. Because the laws are set up so that us as entrepreneurs building the country are able to take breaks. There's things like opportunity zones where you can buy real estate and not pay taxes after a certain amount of years. There's different legalities, even through 1031s and different types of housing, that you can kind of negate depending on how long you keep it as a certain asset and how long you keep it as a residential self-lived building to not pay taxes, whether you're single or you're married. Like, there's all these little like loopholes, which is also another great book from his group, Loopholes for Real Estate. And a lot of people think, oh, loopholes are bad. But in the book, it explains a loophole came from medieval times. So a loophole were those long oval windows you see in castles that you would look out. A loop is to look. So you would be able to peer out, but the arrows couldn't come in. So you had a wide range to shoot and defend your castle, but they had a very narrow spot to get an arrow in. And that's where the word loopholes came from. So a loophole through the tax laws is legal, but you have to learn which ones are best for your business.
Right.
That's why I say read that book, because like, it wasn't until I started learning taxes and learning about real estate and everything else that like I was in mass. I was paying fucking like, I don't even know how I was surviving because they were getting me like in the first years with like $60,000 in taxes. I'm like, did I even make that?
Right.
Because I wasn't taking paychecks,
Right.
but I was still paying all these taxes. And you got unemployment tax and you got all this other crap. So it's like your best bet is to like take the time. Like reading's not stupid. It's not gay. It'll make you a shit ton of money.
Right.
If you read and learn the tax laws on how to best develop your business, because that's what's going to make you the difference between being another business and busting your ass your whole life to get a 401k, or your Social Security is not going to be around. Like It's gone. I don't care what you say. There's no Social Security. My mom gets Social Security, and it's like sad what the government gives you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
After working your whole life.
Yeah. So it's like learn the tax laws because that's going to help you now. You know what I mean? So if you can buy all your shit you need and not pay 40 to 50% of your income and work till August to pay that taxes, and then maybe take some owner's draw at the end, like, wouldn't you rather do that? Like, wouldn't you rather have a new piece of machinery or a new fucking truck or new plows instead of being out there in January trying to fix and grease a fucking plow in a driving snowstorm because you spent all your money paying your quarterly taxes?
Right.
That you could have negated by buying this fucking piece of machinery that was brand new. Like, so that's my tip is like, one, obviously learn your business, become the best at it, but you got to learn taxes because they're there to fuck over the American people. And like, if you don't learn how to not pay the useless taxes, you're just going to work your whole life trying to pay taxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can get away and you can buy all this great equipment for yourself and build more, get more employees and build bigger shops and all this stuff. And with that money, and the government wants you to do that. That's why they set up these tax laws is for businesses to grow.
Right.
But the bad side of the government wants you to fucking not do that. And they want you to keep paying taxes so that you're lowering the tax. You know, you can't afford to buy groceries. You can't afford to, you know, move that next step up. You can't buy that fucking car. You can't have a nice life. And now you're a slave.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's great advice.
That's the best bet.
What's the name of that book again?
Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright.
I'll check it
and
out.
There's 3 editions. So the newest one's the 3rd one. But yeah, he's got all, you know, tax strategies of the rich, and they got a whole big group of books. Once you start reading it, that book will give you 3 books to read. You know what I mean? So you'll grow and stuff like that. But
yeah, I love that, man. I think that's great advice, especially for guys just starting up.
Yeah, I mean, I was grinding, and then once I started self-teaching my stuff, like what the high school never taught us and all this bullshit, you know, that's when my business started to elevate and like take off. And then once I really got good at it, you know, that's how I'm able to do what I do. But
Love it.
yeah,
Hell yeah, man.
onward and upward.
Onward and upward.
I ain't going back.
Yeah.
Fuck that boat.
It's nothing to go back to, man.
It's funny, that boat's actually next to Doug's house in his shop. So I see it every time I pull in. I'm like, fuck you.
Fuck you, boat.
You know, I take pictures. One of these days, I'll put it on Facebook. You guys can look at it. You can be like, bullshit, you're lying. And fuck you, too.
Still got the hot tub, too. We just haven't put it in yet.
Yeah, that's something. It's in a dumpster somewhere. But the boat's still there. It's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. Well, cool, man. It's been fun. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad we were finally able to connect. Love to have you on again sometime. We're kind of booked out. I think we're booking into September and stuff now, but maybe down the road, man. Get on again. And
no one else called me for a podcast, only Frank.
Yeah, just me. I'm like VIP status.
I'm going into retirement today.
I'm glad you did it, man. You did good.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. And it's probably been over an hour, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hour 30, bro.
Yeah.
Damn, that's the longest one we've done so far.
All right, cool.
All right, cool, man. Appreciate you coming on. Thanks for everybody for listening. On to the next one next week.